You can see the needle, pull it all the way down. I think we did it.
How did Helen manage to fool Penn and Teller for the 6th time in a row with this needle and music record trick? Well, before I explain the secret, here's what actually happened. Helen started the performance by introducing a record cabinet and several records, then invited Brooke to freely choose one. The selected record was placed inside the empty cabinet and the doors were closed. She then said for the next part of the trick she needed the ribbon to be threaded through the needle, asking Brooke to hold one end while she held the other, placing the eye of the needle into the cork, and the very moment she pulled it out, the ribbon was threaded onto the needle. She then threaded the ribbon through the cabinet and hooked both ends, handing them over to Brooke to hold. She pulled out the record, put the needle through the openings, and as the ribbon was being pulled and the record was being lowered, it appeared to magically melt straight through the needle. Upon opening the cabinet, she showed that the needle was genuinely passing through the record before handing everything over to Penn and Teller for examination.
I feel like a deer in the headlights of love.
You've been binging videos on this channel, but you still haven't joined my Patreon for absolutely free, where you get early access to all the upcoming videos I've planned for this month. We're almost at 750 members. Let's hit 1,000 within this month. And for those who just want to support in general, there's also a $1 option.
Or just one.
Join for free right now by clicking the link in the pinned comment, then get back to watching this reveal video. Helen performed a total of 2 tricks in her 6th appearance on Penn and Teller's Fool Us. The first one being the needle through ribbon trick. Although many of her tricks are created by her father, this particular one wasn't originally his creation and is based on a classic illusion titled Needle Through Ribbon, which you can buy from almost any magic store. To be honest, I don't know why you would even want to buy this trick, unless this is supposed to be a kind of super skill you want to perform and impress your boomer baddies. Anyway, here you can see the performance of the classic version, where a ribbon is first passed through a cylindrical prop, then a large needle, with its eye pointing down, is inserted and immediately pulled out, with the ribbon now threaded through it. In Helen's case, instead of using a large cylindrical prop that you can buy from a magic store, she used a wooden cork that already had a ribbon passing through it, and you might assume the method is really complicated. For example, you might think that the needle has a slit in its eye, that the ribbon is cut at some point and then restored, or even that 2 ribbons were used, but none of these guesses are correct. In fact, the method is a lot more clever. Now, of course, we all know how a marker's lid works. Similar to that concept, a large needle is placed inside this cylinder, and it has a cap that can be fitted over the eye of the needle. This cap looks identical to one end of the needle, but is hollow inside, unlike the original solid needle. The exact same principle was used in Helen's act, where the cork hid the cap of the large needle she was holding. Inside the cork, the ribbon was already pre-inserted. She then inserted the needle, removed it, and created a very convincing illusion that the ribbon passed through the needle. We can't differentiate the false cap from the original needle because of how thin the cap is, and viewing it from such a distance makes it impossible to recognize this. Now, for the second trick that actually fooled Penn and Teller using the vinyl music record, a similar concept of a false prop was used. Watch the moment Helen pulled out the vinyl record from inside its cover and compare it to when she flipped it over and set it inside the record cabinet. Did you notice that when she took it out from the cover, you can clearly see the record reflecting the light of the surroundings as she tilted it while moving, but as soon as she flipped it over, you'll notice that this reflection was not real. If we pause at this moment, you can clearly see that it is just a sticker with a fake shine printed on it to resemble how a true vinyl record would reflect light. Yes, what you are seeing is that fake prop or gimmick I mentioned earlier. This means she is holding 2 vinyl records sandwiched together with light adhesive. Furthermore, if we zoom in on the record label and try to read what is written on it, there is no specific label or sticker that helps us identify that it was unique to the cover that Brooke selected out of the crate. So, in reality, all those different designed record covers contained the exact same records paired with each other. It simply didn't matter which one she selected. Knowing that there is a second duplicate record with a sticker on it makes us question where it vanished to, because at the end of the performance, Brooke held on to the needle, the ribbon, and the record on it, and handed it over to Penn and Teller for examination. So, obviously, she couldn't hand over the fake duplicate. To understand what's going on, watch carefully when she pulls out the record from inside the closed cabinet after she had passed the ribbon through both ends and handed it over to her. This particular record she pulled out is the fake duplicate, which also explains why we don't see the real reflection. What you can see is a thin plastic with a paper sticker attached to it from the front, with false reflections and a white sticker with a black miniature arrow on it. So after pulling the fake prop out, she placed the needle through the real record and was ready to ditch this false prop. Now, if you look closely at the vinyl record in this zoomed-in image, you'll notice a diagonal line extremely thin passing through it near the center. This is a thin slit made with a blade through this fake prop to help it split in half with a miniature blade embedded within the record cabinet on the top of the record cabinet door. Upon closer examination of the cabinet door, you'll notice that it is not a single piece of wood, but two thin pieces sandwiched together, containing sufficient room in between for each half of the split record to slide into. To further prove that the vinyl record you can see after the cabinet doors are opened is not the same one she pulled out, look at the direction of the arrow on the fake prop. You'll notice that it was pointing towards the northeast, right before it was pushed into the cabinet. Then, once she opened the doors, the arrow was now pointing towards the west. This real record had always been inside the cabinet from the very start. You can see which half of the record label hides on the left side and which half is on the right side. Take note that the line separating both halves of the records does not go exactly between the center hole, but is slightly shifted to one side. This is so when it is being pushed and cut with a blade, there is no sudden jerk that could misalign the cutting of the record.
Para arriba, está para arriba.
Amiga.
Sí.
Coño, qué difícil.